So I can't follow that up. That was pretty cool. My name's Zack Bolen. I'm the agriculture teacher at Cordia. It's a super small school. It's a K through 12 school. There's only like 200 kids in the entire school, about 80 high school. So it's always nice to be able to have a project that these kids can do, something a little different for them. So again, being the ag teacher, I do a lot of stuff with plants, and my students kept coming up to me, it's really nice we get to garden here at school. We've got the greenhouse, but what am I supposed to do at home? I don't have the amount of land at home. Mom would kill me if I dug and put taters in her flower patch. So, what am I supposed to do? Obviously, the climate's also an issue. We can't garden year-round here. We have winter or crazy months like April where it's between winter and spring. And also, there's a health problem in the school as well as, in underage kids sometimes. So what's a way that we can use gardening to eat healthier? So as we started thinking about solutions, I decided to do indoor garden using grow lights. That way we didn't have to use the land, and we could actually garden inside of my own classroom. And I knew that I wanted it to be practical and easy to do. I didn't want to do a project that kids would feel like after they left high school that they could never do that project again. And the products need to be easily accessible. So everything that we used was bought from Amazon, Lowe's, and Walmart. Okay, all things that everybody used. So even you, if you wanted to, could do this project at home. All right, so the reason we used grow lights is because since we're inside, obviously we don't have the sun unless I, drilled a hole into the ceiling, which would not be good. So grow lights mimic how the sun works, and they emit the light frequency that the sun does. And the plants use specifically red and blue wavelengths, getting a little sciencey here, to photosynthesize. That's how they make their own food. Normal lights do not emit that kind. Just for an example, if you used incandescent lights, these are different lights that you could use. You see on the left, they don't really do so well, versus you get to the right, a more powerful actual grow light. The plant actually does begin to grow. So here's our stand. We bought a 3-tier stand off of Amazon. This was the most expensive part. It was about $500. But if the students really wanted to buy it on their own, they could and do this for the rest of their life. So normally when you buy something from Amazon, it comes in a box. It's just one box. You open it, and there it is. This thing came in 2 giant boxes. And when you open it up, all of these pieces that are hanging out were individual pieces. Screws were everywhere. So as the young, resourceful teacher that I am, I took both of those boxes, I put them in front of those kids, and I sat down on my desk. But they really, they loved it, though. They took it and run with it, and they put it all together. Here they are, the top left. We're starting to get some of our seeds together. That's Ian. That's my president of my FFA. He's a senior this year. As they started to grow, you see him watered them. So the students have really done pretty much all of this. I know that I've been successful when I can walk away and allow my students to take hold of a project and them do it versus them watching me do it. I think that's how that they learn. So as far as watering, planting, everything else, they've really took hold and done all of it, okay? So here's my 3-tier, the way it looks right now. It's pretty it takes care of itself for the most part. All that I really have to do is water it every day. Those lights, you can't really see it right now, but they're hooked up to a timer. So when I walk in the morning, the lights are glowing, and I go home, I assume they go off. And they do, since they're not, everything's living. So, but each tier, I have done something very specific and different with. This is a very versatile tool, and I wanted to show my students that even if you didn't want to grow tomatoes, that this might be something that could interest you. So the top tier is your common household plants. You might recognize these from your home. The left is like a jade plant. On the right is an English ivy plant. You see these all over the place. The reason that I specifically did this on this tier is some people buy this and do nothing but collect exotic plants. You can actually buy a heating pad. If I wanted to lay a heating pad on that and have desert plants in that biome or on that tier, they could have cactuses there. Then the layer down, I could have stuff from the rainforest if I wanted to, and on the bottom I could have the local plants. So if a student just wanted to, they like flowers and they want to have flowers inside their home, this is something that they could do. The second tier is my germination area. On the right, I've got some seeds that haven't come up yet. On the left, I've got some small tomato plants and some cucumbers coming up. This has been a great tool to teach germination in the classroom. Okay, the students take seeds and they get to grow something. They get to make life, which is kind of interesting. Eventually, I think in the future I want to take these plants, I'm going to take some of them and put them outside. We've got some raised beds outside. The other ones, I would like to try to keep them in here and see how big I can get them and see if I could actually get some tomatoes off of that. I'm going to go back just for a second. That jade plant, in the future, I'm going to move some of it down. I can actually take leaves off of that jade plant, put them in the soil on the right, cover them up to keep the moisture inside. The leaves on that plant will detect that they're on the soil. They'll make their own roots and grow their own stem and be a brand new plant. It's called asexual propagation, and the kids will be able to take their own jade plant home from this and put it in their own window. So pretty neat. And lastly, we have our herbs. I knew that I wanted to grow herbs because they're pretty quickly growing. You don't have to wait so long to get something off of them. You're using the whole plant whenever you use them in food and such. So I've got like rosemary, some sage, some oregano, some sweet mint. I've had to really protect the mint because it tastes like peppermint candy, and everybody wants to pick on my leaves all the time. So I had to really, really keep them away from it. Just some, I'm glad we've already ate, but some dishes that you can make. Here's some rosemary. You could do stuff with potatoes with it. You can put it on chicken, fry it. And a lot of the, pretty much all the herbs, you can always make a tea out of it, and they have certain health related properties that you could do. Here's some oregano. You eat oregano all the time when you go to Pizza Hut, and you put that little powder on there on your pizza. It gives it a little extra spice. Some coriander. I think that was my mint. No. Okay, there's my mint. Again, my sweet tea mint. Again, I had to keep my kids away from it, but if you're having a bellyache or something like that, it helps with indigestion, all that good stuff. So it's been a really interesting project. I think the kids have really enjoyed it. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to have done this year. So, any questions? Thank you.